Oh, wow. All right, let's start up, please. Thank you.
The next 2 hours, mo wà ní ìsìnkàn sí máa bá yín sálẹ̀. Ẹ lè yọ kí ni Ẹlúkẹ́, Mr. Joel, ẹ wo ẹ wo bí ẹsẹ̀ bí bírèkì yẹn tó máa mọ̀ ní tẹ bá fẹ́ rà ń bẹ̀ ẹ pẹ̀ lè ra ní gbá ẹ̀wọ̀n àbí. Bọ́ ẹ wọ ẹsẹ̀ yẹn náà sọ̀rọ̀ àti ẹ bá máa ń dàgbà sígbà ẹ mọ́ máa ṣe lọ bọ́ ẹ má pè mí ẹjọ́ torí mò ń lo fóònù tẹ̀sí pè mí. Tẹ bá ní ìdí ní ẹ̀kan rán ọmọ sí mi. Ṣé gbọ́?
Okay, I think we're good. Hello, hello. All right. Okay, so we're good. So I'm using a different device to stream, and it's not giving. All right, we're on 2.8k likes. Please, if you can help us get this up, it will be much appreciated. I think YouTube is fine now, and Facebook as well. All right. So yeah, what you're looking at is Radio Republic, and I thought I was just going to start out with that, but I'll talk about it also towards the end of today's session. We're starting a game show last Friday of this month, and then it will continue every Friday thereafter. So the show is called Radio Republic. It's of course, it's an online game show. It's going to be hosted on TikTok, but like every other thing we do, is not just meant for TikTok. So the idea basically is we use TikTok as our studio. We record, so you can be a contestant. There are 4 rounds of questions. You get to answer, and there'll be cash prizes. So if you win, you get the money. But hopefully, you're going to always leave with something, because we have beginners level, intermediate, and then the much harder part, but you're going to like it. Again, it's called Radio Republic. It focuses on Nigerian and Yoruba history, politics, and culture. And then by tomorrow, we're going to put out a link where you'll be able to fill a form, a very short form, just to indicate your interest. Indicate interest if you'd like to be a part of the show. Again, all we want to do is dedicate Fridays to just the show, so everybody gets to watch it on TikTok, on Facebook, like we're having a normal session. People get to see it, but then it will be repurposed into the normal episodic for content, so everything we record on Fridays we're putting out throughout the week that follows. Okay, so that will start on 24th of October 2025. Wherever you're in the world, you can, participate, because of course we're going to be hosting it online. So that means that wherever you are, all you need is just a TikTok account. That's about 1,000 followers. So yeah, people can see you, or you can use someone else's TikTok if you like. But the important thing is that, we see your face, you answer the question, and then you win the prize. And you also get to teach us stuff that, maybe we are also struggling with in our knowledge of Nigerian and Yoruba history. So everything we do here, essentially, that's how we're going to be running it. We'll be talking about different things that have to do with culture, politics, history, and so on and so forth. So please look out for it. I'm going to talk more about it tomorrow. Well, I'll even talk more about it after today's session, at the end of today's session, and also tomorrow. The forms will be out, and you'll be able to participate. Also, now we also want people to be able to support us as sponsors. And like I said, it's not just our Sirilori TikTok. The idea really is to create something that both old and young people can learn from, right? Once you understand Nigeria's history, all you have to do is to find Redomi Republic. So whether it's on Facebook, on YouTube, or whatever, on TikTok as well, we have accounts open now on these different platforms that will be used to push that particular content. So please follow Redomi Republic on TikTok, on Facebook, on Twitter, and please subscribe to the channel on YouTube. There's Busui Oris on YouTube, and I'm glad, we are having this session, here right now. But then we're going to have a different channel also dedicated just to the game show. So please support what we're about to start. Like like this live, but also subscribe to that channel. And when the doors open tomorrow, please take advantage, register to contest, and also support what we're doing by being part of the sponsors. You can just, either you want to give to say, oh, you guys, good idea, give this to the people that win, or you want to sponsor certain products. Whichever one you want to do, please reach out to me. I'll be able to give you more information. I'll tell you more about that tomorrow. But for today, it's just going to be about like what I did yesterday, where I just give us a little introduction, so to speak, of the entire plan. Later today, I'm going to also explain a few more things, right? Just to keep us abreast of the developments as far as the game show is concerned. Again, the show is called Redomi Republic. I'm going to be seeing more of this. You will see it everywhere on earth, right? So online and subsequent, eventually we're going to have physical shows as well that will be called Redomi Republic, discussing history, culture, politics, as far as they concern Nigeria and Yoruba. All right, so please look out for these things and also support what we are doing. Thank you very much for being here. Having said that, let's change this image to this title. All right, so today's title is a question: are you from Lagos? And all we have there is Lagos belongs to the Yoruba, stop self-erasure. 1 second. So this works. This is the first video we're going to be listening to. Lagos belongs to Yoruba. The second one is actually titled "Are You from Lagos?" So I think since the title of today is "Are You from Lagos?" it's just going to make a lot of sense to have that up here. So please give me, but I'll be talking just about a couple of seconds to update this image. While we're waiting, please let's power tap, let's share, and get others to see what we are doing here. That would be much appreciated. Appreciation. Mo dúpẹ́ oníbùọ̀rẹ́ bàbá gbọ́pẹ́ mi. Àmà tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ choir láìpẹ́. And the virgin choir jẹ́ ká mọ̀. All right, Are You from Lagos? The subtle game against the Yoruba. We put out this video a couple of days ago on YouTube. So if you want to watch the video, you can always check it out on YouTube. The channel is Busui Oris, or Busui Oris Works. You find this video there. All right, so like we always do, I'm going to read the descriptions of the two videos because we're playing two videos at the same time, and then we'll get into it. If you're on YouTube, thank you very much for being here. Please double tap on your screen, like the live, so that the algorithm can recommend the live stream to others. Okay. If you're on Facebook as well, please share, and that would be much appreciated. All right, so let's get into the descriptions, and then we'll start listening. Are you from Lagos? That's the question some Igbo people throw out when you challenge the narrative about Lagos. It sounds innocent, but it's a tactical move. They already know you are Yoruba, but they aim to separate Lagosians from the larger Yoruba identity. It's a subtle game of divide and conquer, and it's been working on too many people who don't understand history. The Yoruba rise beyond state lines because we understand that our bond didn't start with Nigeria, and it won't end with it. From Ile-Ife to Lagos, from Ekiti to Kogi, our story is older than colonial maps and politics of convenience. No one should define Yoruba relationships using their own fragmented sense of identity. Our unity is cultural, historical, and spiritual. We must keep speaking with one voice, not just as Lagosians, but as Omodudua, one people with deep roots and an unbreakable lineage. Before we start listening, I think it's important for me to say this, that the very first part of the video we're about to listen to is actually a response to a gentleman, I think I can still call him gentle regardless, who was invited to a particular podcast and spoke about Lagos in a very ridiculous manner. And so we're going to start with the video, Lagos belongs to the Yoruba, stop the self-erasure, before we listen to Are You From Lagos? Let me read the description, of that other video. There's something deeply troubling about how some Yoruba people are now rewriting our own history to please others. When did we start believing that being accommodating means pretending we have no roots? A Yoruba person reimagining Lagos in a way that erases its heritage isn't being open-minded. It's being careless with legacy. Calling Lagos a space for the enterprising sounds poetic until you realize it reduces an entire civilization to a marketplace. Lagos isn't only about trade. It's about culture, governance, art, and a proud lineage that predates colonial footprints. It is time for Yoruba people to stand tall again. We must raise sons and daughters who are kind and welcoming, yet bold enough to protect what belongs to them. Lagos has always been open to visitors, but openness shouldn't mean surrender. Self-preservation is not hatred, it is wisdom. And if we lose that, we lose ourselves. Listen to this. Lagos belongs to the Yoruba. Stop the self-erasure. While you're listening, please power tap on TikTok, share on Facebook, and also like on YouTube as well. Thank you very much. And to the one on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we don't read the news. We just go straight to this, and it's shorter, but it's also packed. You're going to like it, by the way. This is Lagos belongs to the Yoruba. Stop the self-erasure. It starts with a response to the podcast I mentioned earlier. Take a listen. Don't want to be called tribalist. Not that you are in the sense of being a racist or being a bigot, but because you don't want to, because a lot of us don't want to be called tribalist. Not that you are in the sense of being a racist or being a bigot, but because you don't want to sound like that or you don't want to be labeled that, we then go to this very funny space where we downplay our heritage in order to sound politically correct. One of such people who I am actually ashamed of, but since I don't know him, I'm not sure it's going to affect him that much. But any sensible person, including his parents, should be ashamed that they raised a person to think like this. You have to hate yourself to get to the point of talking about Yoruba heritage with, it's almost as if you are apologizing. You're apologizing. You're trying to, may not be like say I did say something, may not be like say I go hate you, may not be like say I want to play you something from a person who I'm actually is Yoruba. I'll tell you about folks who used to think like him before now and where they are at the moment. Take a listen to this.
Lagos is no man's land. No. Anybody can. Lagos is for the taking of anyone.
Lagos is for the enterprising. Lagos is for the commercial. The people who found.
So you might be
Lagos
an Igbo man
Lagos
as long as you are enterprising.
People.
So Uche Okafor can be the House of Reps member of Lagos in
Lagos was welcomed. Lagos was welcomed.
In
Lagos was named. Lagos was named Lagos by the Portuguese. The Portuguese came to buy slaves in Lagos.
So you're saying that it was okay. I'm saying that anyone from anywhere around the country can run it.
I'm saying what gives Lagos that brand is the fact that Lagos is a commercial state.
So Echukudi can run Lagos, right, as a governor?
I don't have a problem with Echukudi running Lagos State. I honestly do not have a problem with it. As long as, certain things are also put in place, you understand, to protect the interest of the indigenous people of Lagos State. Again, for me, it's not just, Lagos is not, you don't just come and say, oh, it belongs to this ethnicity or it belongs to that ethnicity. I don't think in terms of such...
Is Lagos a Yoruba land in your own
I don't
view?
think in terms of such prisms. Lagos historically is Yoruba land. But Lagos over the years has gone through several revolutions. Lagos is also undergoing an evolution now. Now, the rights of the... indigenous people of Lagos will always be enshrined, must always be enshrined. But we must also understand that Lagos is no longer, it no longer just belongs to Lagosians. Look.
A Yoruba person actually opens his mouth and says the foundation of Lagos. Parents, the foundation of Lagos was when it was named by the Portuguese. Parents all over the world, especially if you're a Yoruba parent, please help the next generation. You cannot bring stupidity into this world. Or if you give birth to children, please, let's raise them properly. Let's raise them to love themselves. Let's raise them not to appreciate self-deprecation. Let's raise them to be able to stand up for themselves and say what is right. Let's raise them to be compassionate, but also understand the concept of self-preservation. Right? Does Lagos belong to the people? You say no, it belongs to the enterprising. Is it a market? Is it a marketplace? It belongs to the enterprising. You know how dumb that sounds? Who owns this town? It belongs to the enterprising. If you can sell and buy and sell, you have a place in the town. Because apparently the Oja Oyingbo is the definition of what Lagos is. Just come and buy and sell.
Don't play ball then.
You know what? I'm going to play a longer version of this because there are some other things that he said that I think you should hear before I respond so that I can put everything together. Take a listen to Omar Sheo. Well, let's just listen, please.
Growing tension politically in Lagos about this issue of indigenship and those who think that Lagos is a no man's land. You're a Lagosian, isn't it?
I'm from Osun State, but I've lived all my life in Lagos. I was born in Lagos State, and
so you're one of those people who believe that Lagos is a no man's land.
No, I think there are people who are indigenous to Lagos, and I also think that Lagos is the commercial center of Nigeria, and for you to be the commercial center of Nigeria, the history of Lagos is that in the 18th century, the Portuguese came into Lagos. They were the ones who named Lagos. They came into Lagos for commerce. Okay.
I can't stand this stupidity. The Portuguese did not even come in the 18th century. They came in the 15th century. But again, if you don't have sense like that, it's easy to see. If you are looking at the history of Lagos beginning in the 18th century, do you know how ridiculously stupid a person can be to think that the history of Lagos begins in the 18th century? Even if you take it back to the 15th century, it's still stupid to think that way. There was a thriving trading hub in Lagos as at the 13th century. Sorry, it's at the 1300s. That's the 14th century. The Portuguese came in the 15th century. As at the 14th century, people were trading from, they will come from Edo. They will come, the Laje people were there. The Shekiri people, of course, will be there. Different groups were trading. It was already a trading hub, the Jebu. But that does not mean that it's the trade that makes the city. In other words, there is no city, it's just a place it's just a marketplace. And to always connect Lagos because the name is Lagos, like how dumb are people? So if, for instance, if you go to a particular place now and you name, let's say you have a street now, you now name this something, it means that that place did not exist until you named it. And whatever it became after you named it is actually the real history of that place. This is a Yoruba person. That's what makes it even more painful. To make it worse, is from Osun State. How can you be like this? And this is what you get from being, I'm sophisticated. I don't want to be a bigot. Again, no, but I don't. Why should I want to be a bigot? But also, you don't want to be a sissy. Where your definition of fairness is that you become a mop that people can just use on the floor because you want to be fair to everybody. Anyway, if you can stand it, I think I'm going to stand as well. That's the word, a pushover. Let's just listen to a few more things and we'll see how we can respond. By the way, this person works with Atiku Abubakar and support GRV. But again, no surprises there. Take a listen. Let's continue listening.
And I also think that Lagos is the commercial center of Nigeria. And for you to be the commercial center of Nigeria, it means Lagos belongs to the enterprising. Lagos belongs to the commercial. The issue of Lagos is that in the 18th century, the Portuguese came into Lagos. They were the ones who named Lagos. They came into Lagos for commerce. Okay, commerce has always been the center point of Lagos. So if you are not adding value to the state, then there's a problem. So commerce, enterprise, business, that's what Lagos is about. It's just unfortunate to me that successive governors since 1999 in Lagos State are people who have never managed business for one day in their lives before.
What do you mean?
All of them. But no business.
But his
businesses came after.
He's been in a private sector.
A private sector. He was working for someone. He never managed a business as an entrepreneur. And this is somebody who is managing an entrepreneurial state. The same thing with Raji Fashola. With all due respect to him, he was also, from employment with a law firm. He had never known what it was to pay salaries, never known. And that's why these guys go around destroying small businesses all over Lagos. You see an Okada rider and the first thing that comes to your head is to destroy his Okada. You see somebody trying to sell something by the roadside, first thing that comes to your head is destroy the stall. Imagine an entrepreneurial governor governing Lagos State. That person will look at the stall and think, how can I create a night market?
Who is an entrepreneurial candidate?
Well, I think there are several. I could put names forward. Gbadebo Revival, I think, is an entrepreneurial candidate. I think that's someone who understands the mentality of Lagos, understands the heartbeat of Lagos. I look forward to having him as a candidate, possibly if the primaries go well within the ADC. That might be showing my hand too early, but that's my personal opinion, not the opinion of the article campaign anyway. I'm just saying that Gbadebo is my friend. I think he understands. We've discussed these ideas. I think, we should have that. But Lagos deserves a governor that understands the spirit of Lagos.
Lagos is no man's land. No. Anybody can. Lagos is for the taking of anyone.
Lagos is for the enterprising. Lagos is for the commercial. The people who found.
So you might be Lagos an Igbo man, as long as you're enterprising. People. So Uche Okafor can be the House of Reps member of Lagos in
Lagos was welcomed. Lagos was welcomed.
In
Lagos was named. Lagos was named Lagos by the Portuguese. The Portuguese came to buy slaves in Lagos.
So you're saying that it was okay. I'm saying that anyone from anywhere around the country can run it.
I'm saying what gives Lagos that brand is the fact that Lagos is a commercial state.
So Echukudi can run Lagos, right, as a governor?
I don't have a problem with Echukudi running Lagos State. I honestly do not have a problem with it. As long as you understand to protect the interest of the indigenous people of Lagos State. Again, for me, it's not just, Lagos is not, you don't just come and say, oh, it belongs to this ethnicity or it belongs to that ethnicity. I don't think in terms of such...
Is Lagos a Yoruba land in your own
I don't
view?
think in terms of such prisms. Lagos historically is Yoruba land. But Lagos over the years has gone through several revolutions. Lagos is also undergoing an evolution now. Now, the rights of the indigenous people of Lagos will always be enshrined, must always be enshrined. But we must also understand that Lagos is no longer... It no longer just belongs to Lagosians. Look, there was a point in time in the world where Saudi Arabia was the center of the world. Okay, if you're a musician, if you're an artist, if you're a magician, you wanted to perform in Saudi Arabia. There was a time, or up till now, where America is the center of the world. If you haven't performed at certain locations in America, if you haven't fought as a boxer, if you haven't fought as a wrestler in certain locations in America, you can't be considered to be at the art of your craft. If Lagos wants to be the center of Nigeria, then Lagos must be willing to welcome people. So I don't mind who is governor of Lagos, as long as that person is commercially driven, that person is entrepreneurially driven.
Where do we even begin? Where do we begin? This is not about this young man. It's about the mindset. Towards the end, it says, if Lagos wants to be the center, Lagos has to be open and accommodating. How else do you open up a place to your law? How else do you open up a place? How? It's like, you are open. They now say you got to open. Okay, so what do I need to do to show that I am open as a Lagosian? 1951, Zik won a seat in Lagos to represent that part of Lagos in Ibadan, regional parliament. Zik was in Ibadan acting as the opposition against Action Group in the parliament. That is, I'm talking 1951. What exactly do you have to do to be considered open enough? This same Lagos, we've had Rita Oji, who was House of Reps, Ajeromi Felodun constituency. We've had Jude Idimogu, who is also Igbo and represented Lagos House of was at Lagos House of Assembly representing Oshodi Solo 2. We've had Ata Achieve, who is right now in the House of Reps in representing Etiosa. We've had Tony Ungulu, who represented Oshodi Solo 2 at the House of Reps. None of these people I mentioned, they're not even Yoruba, let alone Lagos or Lagosians. So how else do you open up your place when you've had non-indigenous, non-Yoruba in the House of Assembly, in the House of Reps, representing Lagos? And we don't even, it's also difficult for you to be able to tell me right now, if I can't even tell you what many of them did for Lagos while they were representing Lagos. But for a place where you have had Igbos representing parts of Lagos since 1951, how else do you open up Lagos? That's the question I have. When you say it has to be, if you want to be commercial, it's already commercial. It was commercial before Nigeria. It was commercial before the British, before the Portuguese. So the question is, what does Lagos have to do in order to be seen as open? There are people from different ethnicity trading in Lagos, selling in Lagos, buying in Lagos, living in Lagos, working in Lagos. None of them has any issues with the way things are. Only one. And you think the problem is Lagos or the people that are speaking up in Lagos. And I've seen some Yoruba people, some of them were supposed to be so-called educated people, bunch of clowns who just have nothing but degrees, are not able to actually think about what they are saying. One posted earlier, he has deleted it, saying that instead of us to be talking about how to make Lagos Kiriko, we're talking about 1950. I'm like, how do you talk like this? How are you so unaware? If you say now Lagos doesn't allow people, as nobody has ever represented Lagos who was not Yoruba, who was not Lagosian, nobody has ever been allowed to sell. There is no non-Lagosian heading market in Lagos, which will stop. If you tell me now that only Lagosians head markets in Lagos, they're not open, no. They don't rent shops to people. They're not open, no. They don't rent houses to people from my place. They're not open, no. They are always against us. They're not open, no. But the point is, you look through history. Way before independence, your people of different ethnicities have had stakes, have been allowed to even represent the space. So what else do you want? Then the clown said that the Portuguese named Lagos, it was just because I go to, so for instance, let's say I come to your place now. Your place, I don't know, your place means something. And I say, this place looks like my own, it looks like Ile-Ife. I'm going to call it Ile-Ife. Does that mean that I'm the one who created that place as a commercial center? In other words, Mongo Park discovered River Niger. You see this colonial mentality. The Portuguese founded Lagos because Mongo Park discovered River Niger, because apparently nobody knew River Niger existed here until he had to travel all the way from Europe to show us that, hey, listen guys, I've discovered it. Then he says that Lagos belongs to the enterprising. And that Tinubu was not enterprising. Fashola, with all due respect, according to him, that's what he says. Fashola, with all due respect, he just came from chambers. He has no enterprising. So I was like, you know what? May not be like say with a doubt him. More even wait for him. Who is your definition of enterprising governor? He now mentioned GRV. Says his friend. GRV is the end. We have a prayer point as Yoruba people, regardless of your religion. There's a prayer point you need to pray for Yoruba people, that we're going to have less and less of minds like this. We're going to have them about less and less of minds like this. That the definition of an enterprising, I'm laughing because I'm even trying to say, okay, so what's the entrepreneurship or the entrepreneurial adventure that this person has had better than the past and present governor of Lagos? I'm wondering what makes GRV enterprising again, please? The fact that I said doesn't think in Yoruba. See, there are things I want to say. I'll just put it this way. I found that nonsense that clown wrote. It says, when we are discussing the things NCNC AG discussed in the 1950s, when it comes to Lagos in 2025, some things never change. You want all the benefits that come with a cosmopolitan city, but not the diversity that comes with its political leadership. There's a lesson in London, NYC. Let me say something. London, NYC that we use is like we're not thinking. England colonized different parts of the world. Those people went into England and became English citizens or British citizens, right? You now have Sadiq Khan, who is the mayor of London. Oh, praise God. Here's the question you should be asking yourself. Did I colonize your father? Did my parents colonize your people? What's all this thing about? Let's go to London, New York. Let's go to Dubai. Let's go to Moscow. Let's go to Seoul in South Korea. Let's go to Kuala Lumpur. Because not be London and NYC alone exist for the world. And my question is, if Yoruba people have had relationship with outside people for centuries and we've not had this issue of people just bickering and crying like bush babies over what doesn't belong to their parents, we've had relationship with people from Borno. Many of them have become citizens in Lagos, so not even citizens, indigenous of Yoruba land today. How come it's only one group that is just crying, and they've been crying like this since the 1940s? The first person who made that statement, Lagos is no man's land, was Jaja Wachuku, and it was in 1947. The second time it was made was in 1950, and it was made by the entire delegation of the Eastern region. If you are Yoruba, and you're wondering why are people pushing back, maybe I should advise you to do one thing. Please go to Port Harcourt. Or maybe you are not in the country. Go online. Study what happened in Port Harcourt and ask yourself, why are folks in Port Harcourt, why are the Korean people pushing back so hard? Why is it that people in Port Harcourt are acting the way they do? What happened in Port Harcourt? And for folks who hate the idea of history, they're going to make the exact same mistakes, and their children will probably make the same mistakes, but hopefully it's going to be contained in their family houses and not in Yoruba land as a whole. Maybe in Agbole. Because I don't know how you have examples of what has happened in the past, but you just want to go and enter that fire because you want to prove that you like multiculturalism. One of the major problems of England today is that word, multiculturalism. It became something that was celebrated in the 1960s. Everywhere you went in the 60s, it was a buzzword, multiculturalism. Now they are angry about it. But here's the point. Is Lagos against the idea of multiculturalism? No. Because if that were the case, you have the Urobo people complaining, the Edo, Bini people complaining, Urobo, what's this? Ishan, they'll be complaining because there are many. Ishan will be complaining, Hausa will be complaining, Fulani will be complaining, T will be complaining, Idoma will be complaining, because there are many groups, right? Ibb will be complaining, Efik will be complaining, Angas will be complaining, everybody in Lagos will be complaining, but no other ethnic group complains. What does that tell a sane person? That the issue is not about Lagos, it's about the person who is crying wolf. And you, because you want to prove that you're educated and that you are detribalized, you will say things like, Lagos is historically Yoruba, but it has gone through evolution. Who are you? It has gone through evolution. It is going through evolution now. So, where hasn't gone through evolution? And I've said this several times. As a Yoruba person, you've got to understand this. The concept of cosmopolitanism is not new to Yoruba land. It began in the 11th century. It's been more than 1,000 years. We have people from different cultures. coming into our land at different points in time in our cities. We started building cities more than 1,000 years ago. And in those cities, you had people from different ethnicities, not just within Nigeria, but even outside what we now call Nigeria. Folks from Mali, folks from, what's on this far place? Senegal. If I take a break like that, it's because there are irritants coming to the comment section. Folks from Senegal were coming into our land. We were building cities of 70,000, 120,000 people. They came, but guess what? They assimilated into the prevailing culture because they are human beings. If you're a human being, that's what you do. If you're a goat, you will think that the world must change to adapt to you. The world must adapt to you because you have two horns on your head and you are from another continent or planet. They became part of the people. Some of them rose and became something. Wait, I'm not even talking about 1,000 years ago. It happened literally just a little over 100 years ago in parts of Yoruba land. And I've seen one. I've actually interviewed somebody whose family got into Yoruba land in the 1970s. And today they are considered Yoruba, taken in by a particular family. I don't want to go into the details. But they didn't have to become all this, we have rights, we have rights. Anybody who goes around beating the chair and shouting, we have rights, we must all own this place together, is an animal. No human being that comes from a culture that is civilized, that's even developed, goes all over the place shouting that. But you're a Yoruba person, you are the one they will push to go and say these things. Oh, are we not open? Okay, what does it mean to be open? What does it mean? Because the person you are fighting for openness for, in his homeland, they're not even open. I mean, if they do better than me now, they challenge me, saying can become like you, it go make sense. You know, even they do up to 10%, waiting they do. You still tell me say can open up. Wait till I won't do again. It's not the same region where a couple of days ago, Anambra indigenous in Enugu. You know what? I'll find that one. 1 second. I think, I don't know what happened to us as Yoruba people. Some of us are just not very, we're not very, it is well with us. Where is that thing? Yes. Peter Obi, Peter Mba, that's the governor of Enugu State. The governor of Enugu State says, today I received a delegation of Anambra State indigenes living in Enugu, led by Dubem Uloba, Esquire. A governor, imagine, I cannot think about it. I can't even fathom the possibility of Osun State indigenes in Oyo State or Oyo State indigenes in Lagos State going to see the governor. Where your state is like, I feel just throws to enter your state. Imagine, just think about it. Imagine Ekiti State's indigenes going to Ondo State governor to say hello. This is the person, people from here are the ones telling you to open up. Why not try and be open like I am? And then we can have conversations. But by the way, you are not going to be as open as, because you can't even do it to people within that region. I don't use the plot that they used to call it. Within that region, you have not done it within that region. You still have, you know, I can't think of Kogi indigenes in Osun State. I can't. It will be weird. If you start mentioning Kinikon State, I'm thinking like maybe they are from the north and they will not think identity, the Hausa community here. But neighboring states have indigenous association. You are going to teach Yoruba people how to be open. And you Yoruba that they are going to use, let me say something to you. They used people like you in the 1940s. It was 1948. Zeke looked around and thought, you know what, I've got to deal with these Yoruba people who are trying to establish something. So I've said this several times here. Yoruba people organized, they created something in 45 in London. It was called Egbe Modudua. That's people like, led by Papa Awolowo. People like Oni Akirele, Abejo Akirele, you know, a lot of them in the UK, they created Egbemo Dudua in 45. In 48, they established it in Lagos, you know, inaugurated it in Ife, and then established it in Lagos. Zik had a problem with it. So what did Zik do? Zik looked for Yoruba people. He gathered them, and he said, Egbemo Dudua is a fascist movement, the fascist organization that must be. The words they used, they were very. He said they should attack them in the updale, downdale. In other words, whether they're in the valley or in the mountains, they should go to their houses at home and abroad. They should attack them because that fascist movement must die. He said this must be the battle cry. Zik said that in 1948. Guess what he did? He hated the idea of Egbemo Dudua, so he organized another group of Yoruba people and called them Yoruba Federal Union. And they met, and they called themselves representative of Yoruba people. Their descendants are still here with us today. And I'm not just talking about their biological descendants, I'm saying their ideological descendants, like someone like this one. Open where? This is what gives specifically Igbo people the temerity to just say, oh, we do this thing in Lagos. And by the way, how come no other person does it? You know why? Because they are cultured. No other group does it because every other group is definitely clearly more cultured. Enumidegba, I can say it because we've been here together. We read the book where Igbo intellectuals said that they have superior culture and civilization more than any other group in Nigeria. And I'm looking for that culture. I don't buy torchlight since they look for them. I don't find them. I don't check all kind of books. Say wait the. I don't find them. How can you have a superior culture and just be moving anyhow anyway? The only one says on it, if you are Yoruba, please, I beg, read, study. What you can do is you cannot be hateful towards others. You can't, say, oh, push them out of the place and all those things. But don't be all this PC nonsense of being politically correct where you are now losing what's yours in the name of pandering to another group that will never pander to their own neighbors of the same stock. Let alone you. Yoruba land is open for business. It's been open for business before Igbos knew anything called. Igbos did not get to the 1930s. The first that were coming in through working with the British, they were here and there, 1 here, 2 here, 3 here. When they really came into Lagos was in the 1930s. You know, people reach 100 years. Again, this pandering is just stupid. And the person this one just off me, say the governor, they received delegates from Enugu State, the indigenous of Enugu State. Do you know the journey from Enugu State to Anambra State? You will take that journey within Ibadan. Forget your state. Tobacco Lalukpon, to have my day do, or to cover distance, and you've covered the distance. I'm saying from Enugu State to Anambra State, if you finish that trip within Ibadan, or you have indigenous of a neighboring state visiting, and they are both Igbo. If you're Yoruba, please, I'm just begging you. Your duty is to love everybody. Your duty is to be fair towards others. Your duty is to be compassionate even, but your duty is not to lose what your father gave you. Something that you are holding in trust for your children. Don't lose it because of stupidity. And the person telling you, do it. We need more thing in Yoruba land. We need more thing in Yoruba land doesn't care for you. And don't tell me you're trying to build a Kinikon, UK, London. Every city has its uniqueness. Kuala Lumpur is not like London. Paris is not like New York. If you are French, why? I mean, most of us are Nigerians. Why are the French people against what's happening in Paris right now? What are they saying about the dynamics that are changing? What are we talking about? Why is it that Dubai, even though the Emiratis in Dubai in Dubai are literally less than 10% of the entire city. If you think I'm lying, please fact check me. More than 90% of people living in Dubai are not Emiratis. They're expatriates. How come they are not allowed to even become citizens, let alone get into politics? And if you say, oh, but Dubai is in UAE, that's a country. Yoruba is a nation. See, Dubai is a nation. That's why it's like that. Sorry, UAE is a nation. That's why they are trying to protect the interests of the indigenes and the people of the land. Yoruba is a nation. Nigeria is not a nation. And it will not become a nation. And it is not a problem. Nigeria is like the UK. It has many nations within it. Each nation will tell you what will happen within their space. Not you flying rivers and streams, going to other people's places and telling them, I want rights. How many left have you given people in the last 10 years? You're looking for rights all over the place. Rather. Anyway, somebody in Kenya who, for some reason, maybe is smarter than many of these Yoruba clowns. Lagos is Yoruba land, but it has gone through evolution. Can anybody give me any Yoruba town that has not gone through evolution? Any? Is Yoruba land, but it has gone through evolution. Okay, the people you are supporting, how come there's no place where they are coming from that has gone through any such evolution? Is it that is there like a conspiracy in the spiritual realm that says that this particular region must have nothing like that? Because there's Port Harcourt in the south. Listen, let's even talk about this for a second. Think about ethnicities in Nigeria. If you go up north in Kaduna, up north, the Kano Reserve, Maiduguri, the Hausas can boast of, and of course, and other ethnic groups within Kaduna, they can boast of Kaduna, they can boast of Zaria, they can talk about Sokoto, they can talk about all the cities. They can talk about Kano, which has been a cosmopolitan city centuries before Nigeria was discovered or named. You come to the southwest, you see examples all over the place, whether it's Lagos or Ibadan or Abeokuta or Ogbomoso. And I'm trying to stick to like 4 examples in each region. When you get to the south, amongst different ethnicities, in the Equatorial are Port Harcourt, you go to Ibibio, you have Uyo. Wait, Uyo was not developed with money from Lagos, so. Because it's not only Lagos. Anyway, there's Uyo, there's Wari, the Shekiri, our brothers. We have to be saying it proudly now because some people need to know. So how come when you get to the southeast, you don't have any example? Why? What does that say of your group as a people? That you have work to do to make it better all over the country? Every region is blessed. But if you don't think you are blessed, that's okay. But don't come to my place and tell me you are the one blessing my place when where you are coming from is not looking like what you are claiming to have done in my space. It's just ridiculous. And Yoruba people, this is actually more for us than anybody because there's no way we have to reduce the numbers of people like this in Yoruba land. Not by harming anybody, no violence, but we have to teach ourselves to appreciate who we are and to not get lost in this maze of, because you have to be very, very, and you know what, while we are speaking Oyinbo, while we are speaking English and waxing lyrical and trying to philosophize, the person who won't take your land, don't take your land, come out, finish. See, that's not what you're talking about. This is 21st century. Okay. They're not. When people ask questions and say to Yoruba people, are you from Lagos? The mistake they're making is that they are thinking they're using the context or their own frame of reference to think or to explain what is happening here. When you are asked the question, are you from Lagos? Again, what you are hearing is not, forget the question for a second. Just think about the person asking that question. He's using his own frame of reference, because in his own place, Enugu, Anambra indigents have to congregate to meet the governor of Enugu, a neighboring state. In his place, state is the basis of identity. Why? Because it's not a place, because the concept of ethnicity as a common identity in his region was created by the British. Before and after the British, he thinks clannish. So he has to even talk about state for him is elevation. He don't mature with that, because like it happened in Enugu last month, they're trying to get people to work in the health sector. Anambra did his own, they did their own a while back, where they said you have to be an indigent of Anambra state. That is high. Enugu is saying that you have to be the indigent of the word of the word. You have to be from that word of origin. And you must be living in that word not to get the job. And you must be able to speak the dialect of that place, but you don't have to speak Yoruba to become governor of Lagos State. You see the ridiculousness and the hypocrisy. But to get a small job in a particular word, you must be able to speak not the language, the dialect. Then you must be able to prove that you are from that place. That's the origin. I listened to a show yesterday, and the man confirmed exactly what I've always thought, because it's also important to know that this thing is not just what you are thinking. He asked the person, where are you from? These are Yoruba people. We were speaking Yoruba. Where are you from? Then the person said, I'll not mention it, just mention a state. And the man said, I'm not asking for the state. I'm saying, where are you from? That's how we think as Yoruba people. If a Yoruba man, especially 40s and above, asks you the question, where are you from? They're not asking about your state or local government. They're asking about your town. Because our understanding of identity is, number one, ethnicity. Number two, our towns. Not our anonymous, autonomous communities. It's towns. And because of our evolution as a people, our towns are interconnected, such that you may find yourself in Lagos State speaking to a person and you hear his Oriki. And that Oriki is exactly the same thing as the Oriki of somebody from Ofa, or Ekiti, or Oyo, or Ife. You can find beats, even in some cases, Benin. Because, see, in ancient times, Benin was an extension of Yoruba land. So we were that mixed. I said it. And I'm saying that because I just thought that some people say, I said it. The royalty, the monarch itself was an extension of Ife, who were like this. So if a person from Benin tells you that, oh, we live in Lagos, for a Yoruba person is a brother. They won't say, are you not from Edo State? Let's say you say, oh, my great grandfather. They say, I know. They won't think like that until you, of course, unless you misbehave. Their families connected. Why do you have a Koyi in Oyo State? There's a Koyi in Oyo State. There's a Koyi in Osun State. There's a Koyi in Lagos State. You don't think there's a connection? And there are many Koyis, about 80 Koyis in Yoruba land, if not more. Why is there a Solo in Ondo State and a Solo in Lagos State? Why is there a Jaye in Lagos State, Ifako Jaye, and there's a Jaye in Ogun State, and there's a Jaye in Oyo State? Why do you have a Jigbo in Lagos and a Jigbo in Oyo? Oh, sorry, a Jigbo in Osun State and a Jigbo in Lagos State? What's a Jesha? What does it mean to say Jesha Tedo in Lagos State? What does it mean to say Eko Tedo in Ibadan? They know their boundaries, by the way, but they know they are connected. They know they are connected, but they know their boundaries. They don't move around and say, oh, we are. They know their boundaries, but they recognize and they cannot deny their connection. It's important to say these things. That's why, as Yoruba people, we know states exist. When it comes to matters of indigeneity, we don't bother with it. the rights of the indigenous people of Lagos State, we will support it for them. But we also know that our connections existed long before Nigeria was formed. Unlike what you have, where you're coming from, when you were all separate groups and brought together by force by the British, we don't have the same frames of reference. We are so connected. There's Owu. The original Owu is not even where there's Owu in Abeokuta. There's Owu, Orili Owu in Oyo State. Things happened. Wars happened. We mixed and mingled. There are young people in Ife today. You don't have that kind of history, and I'm not praying that you have it because it's too late. I'm happy for whatever you have, but do not in your mind think that your history is the history of other groups. Your people have a totally different history, and by the time they started creating states in 76, there were subgroups that were broken into different spaces, e.g. Ekiti. Akure is the capital of Ondo State, but Akure is an Ekiti town. They are Ekiti people. There are Wari people broken into Lagos and Ogun State. Songwater is a major Awori town. There are parts of Lagos State that were connected to the town called Ota. She will say, no, don't talk about them. You're not from Lagos State. Just shut up. Before they gave birth to your father, that land and this land have been connected. And I speak up for them, not because I want anything from them, but because they are my brothers. And in the face of Jagidi Jagon, that you are literally bringing into the space, it's important for them to stand up to protect the interests of their brother. And when he gets what he gets, they don't have to share anything with him because they are cultured people. So when you hear that thing of, are you from Lagos? Tell them that, how does that concern you? This is not your region. There's a way things work here. Nobody is fighting for the right of an indigene in Lagos, but they're going to fight for the indigenes to protect them against the onslaught of uncultured.
Ayan, ano ba? Nagluluto? Lagas-las ng tubig o may piniprito?
Meron, wala. 10. Hindi dapat. Inom ako ng tea. Meron?
Wala.
Wala pa din. Ba't di kayo nagsasabi?
Once you think everybody hates you, just 1,000 steps back. People like me that are not really bothered are now even 1,000% alert on the agenda they want to push in Lagos. Sorry to disappoint you, Kole work. I think they should even continue doing this thing. They should continue doing it. Very loud people, be loud, say it. Rile people up. Rile them up. Let's quickly read some things from YouTube. We have a lot of things there. Thank you very much for your engagement on YouTube. I'm going to read what you have to say. Someone says, open to them means let us be in charge of everything and everywhere in Lagos. That will never happen. Sean TV7 says, keep up the good work. Thank you very much for that. What the British people are suffering from now are full of regrets. I think he was talking about multiculturalism, the idea that we should just open it up to everybody. Britain is, and the UK is bleeding for that simple policy. And it's not because there are no advantages to it, it's because the place looks like everything is being eroded, including the culture of the land. And I've said it here before, whatever makes Richard Dawkins an atheist begin to say that he's a cultural Christian tells you that water don't pass Gary. He's saying that everything is changing. They can't even recognize their country anymore. They are seeing streets filled with certain people. They are seeing streets blocked by people who claim to be praying. They are talking about things changing. This is an atheist. We don't have to get to that in Yoruba land. And again, if no other group says they have a problem with what we are saying, the group that says they have a problem is the group that is the problem. The other general says 10 to 15% of Dubai's population are citizens. Yes. It's actually less than 10. You'll be shocked. It's actually less than 10, but thank you very much for that. Olumide Elisomi says, answer is Igbo man must become Lagos governor. Next, Nigeria will open and Igbo man will become Nigeria president without election. Thank you for that funny comment. If people continue like this, at a governor, at a president, or at anything, or just go that people start pushing you away because your energy is just based on enticement mentality. There's nothing you're contributing. You're shouting that I should have it because. Let me just continue to read the comment section. Adewale Olusegun says the same thing with the Ijebu people. I think I was talking about the fact that we are connected. So you have Ijebu people, for instance, the Ijebu people in Ekpe, in Lagos State. There are also Ijebu people, of course, in Ogun State. So whether it's Odogbolu or it's Ijebu Igbo or Ijebu Mushin or Ijebu Ode, the Ijebu people are the Ijebu people are also in Lagos State. You can't say because state creation happened in 1976, they should lose the identity that is, that's way older than that because they want to please another ethnic group from another region of Nigeria. That is ridiculous. The same thing for Remo. There are Remo people in Lagos State. There are also Remo people in Ogun State. That kind of connection. Although we can use the word Ijebu too. All right. Someone says, Lawa today says same thing between Igbomina of Kwara and Igbomina in Osun State. Yes. 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 There are Igbomina people in Kwara State. There are Igbomina people in Osun State. So when you hear about Umuaran, Ilofa, all those places, like that's Igbomina land in Kwara. There are many towns. I'm just mentioning two. And then in Osun, you have Ila. These are all Igbomina. You cannot say that they're no longer Igbomina. It's even crazy that for the K2 subgroup, so every subgroup has a capital. I mean, or at least had a capital in ancient times, right? The Ijebu people have Ijebu as a capital. For instance, the K2 people who are a subgroup, a Yoruba subgroup, just like the Awori and Ijebu and Ekiti and Okun and so on and so forth. The K2 people, their own capital is not even in Lagos. It's in Benin Republic. And I've said it here before. We had the king of Imeko on this platform, I think it was December last year. There are things they want to do that they have to go to Benin Republic because that's the capital of that subgroup. You see? So, national boundaries don't change that fact. See? Let's continue. It's the same thing with the Igbomina of Kwara and the Igbomina in Osun State and Ibolo in Kwara and Ibolo in Osun State, as well as Ekiti in Kwara and Ekiti of Ekiti State. Absolutely. But he also says it is deliberate for them to think alike because their target is to appropriate Yoruba land. They are specially trained to taunt Yoruba land with this narration. Let me sound a note of warning. And with all due respect, we are all Nigerians, but a note of warning to my fellow citizens from the Southeast. There's a strategy that has been deployed and is being deployed. And the idea is to taunt people and to irritate them enough for them to give you what you want, which is either to break the country or to make you president. But really what you want is to make you president. We are going to taunt them, you're going to insult them, you're going to throw jabs at them until they do what you want. That's a strategy. I've heard about it from people, from Igbos, and I see it every day. But this is the warning. That same strategy was used in 1966. Of 1966. It was 4 months of taunting. When the answers came, when the responses came in May, it was bloody. They took a break and resumed after 4 months. By September, it was bloodier. We are not praying for any terrible thing in Yoruba land or in Nigeria as a whole. But this taunting you are doing, whether it's on social media or on the ground, there will be repercussions, and I'm just advising that we think. Let's continue. They said they dare not try the same in the north. Well, because they did it once, they did it a couple of times. They give them a decisive comeback, pushback, comeback, everything. They give them a decisive pushback. They've never had a comeback. They will never try this thing in the north. But Kano is cosmopolitan as well. and it has been cosmopolitan for centuries. But nobody says nonsense there because it's the North. I don't think we have to have what happened in the North in the West before people actually give themselves brain. But everybody knows where they are from. E.g., during the Swabiola in 1993, everybody ran back home. So let all of us respect ourselves. All right, thank you very much. We've had a great time. That was from... Okay, so we just listened to 2 videos from the YouTube channel. Are You From Lagos? The subtle game against the Yoruba. And I hope we've learned 1 or 2 things. The other one is Lagos belongs to the Yoruba. Stop the self-erasure. You can listen to this again after the session. It will be the live section. You could also check the YouTube channel for the videos I mentioned just now. All right, before we go on, I'd like to read some responses and also bring somebody up. So I see we have 1 second. We have a request on TikTok. I'm going to bring that person up and then we'll read some things from YouTube as well. Bodo, I'm bringing you up now. So we'll take that and then we'll read some of the comments on YouTube. Hello, Roboto, are you there? Hello?
Hello, yes. I'm here.
Good evening.
Good evening,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, on this topic, actually, well...
There's a lot of noise in the background.
Okay, all right, give me a few minutes, please.
All right then, okay.
Right. Is it possible to mute me while... Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So let's get into some of the stuff that people have put on YouTube. Someone says, you are fighting people. We know they fight you, but Ilorin is gone. It's going to take Yorubas 1 million years before they will get back Ilorin. Why are you so concerned about the land that's not yours? Lagos doesn't belong to you. It's not connected to you. You are concerned. Ilorin doesn't belong to you. You are still concerned. Are you homeless? Did your parents forget to actually bequeath something to you that's even worth protecting? At Ilorin or at Lagos, leave those ones. We can deal with our own issues. Don't you have something to protect where you come from? Or were you born to be nomads and perpetual wanderers? You should think about it, because to be honest, the vibes you guys give is the vibe of a fugitive. So leave Lagos alone, okay? And leave Ilorin alone. Don't worry, whatever happens will be fine. We are not the one to tell us what to think about. Do you want to tell us that Yoruba is a country? Withdraw Yorubas from the Igbo land and oil wells. You don't have any oil wells. Stop deceiving yourselves. You know what? I like these kind of responses. So let's talk about this for a second. These oil wells that you guys are always talking about, the entire southeast produces 2.1% of the crude oil output in Nigeria. 2.1. 2.1%. About 30% of the oil in this country is from Ishekiri land. Some people say 33%. Because I talk about Lagos and Ondo a lot, but maybe we should start flexing a little bit. Everything Anambra, Abia, and Imo states, the three states put together, everything they contribute to the crude oil, whatever that we have in Nigeria, is 2.1%. Not 20.1, and not one state with 2.1. The 3 states combined give us 2.1. Lagos is not even known as an oil producing state, but guess what? Lagos has more oil than the entire southeast. That's about 2.4. 2.6. Edo has about 2.3. And I'm not going to compare you with Ondo, because that's disrespectful. Let alone talk about the big 4. Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Delta, Rivers. You can't have 2.1% and be telling people about oil wells. You don't even know what they look like. The only well you probably know is Konga, where they fetch water, and I'm not even sure you can have it, considering the kind of land you have there. But God bless you. What's the next question? Why won't you let Igbo go and have Biafra? Nobody's holding Igbo people back. You guys are not serious. If you want Biafra, the first thing we should ask you is this: define Biafra. Tell us the landmass that constitute Biafra. Not when you're looking for 40 states and taking Igala land, people that have been there, civilized before you, taking Igala land, Ikwere land, Urobo land, Ibibio land, Efik land, Anang land, Oron, just going everywhere looking for things where you know lost. If you want your, I know the funny thing, I was going to say your 5 states, but you don't even have those 5 states because apparently, and I just discovered some of these things over the weekend. There's a thriving Ijaw community in Imo State. In other words, the states are not even homogeneously Igbo. There are Igala in Enugu State, in Usuka. There are Ibibio people in Abia State. There are Ijaw people, there are Ikwere people in Imo State. You cannot, you should probably just be concerned about what land God has given to you. But all this Biafra noise that you guys are making, you know you don't want Biafra. If you really want, you would have carried your bag and gone. Nobody's holding you back. You were not invited. Right? So if you're going to exit, you don't have to get permission. There was no invitation for you to get in there. There's no need for permission for you to go out. Stop constituting nuisance. And by the way, this is not to say, oh let's not push them out. You can literally decide that, you know what, I've had enough. There's a book I want to recommend to people, Crisis and Conflict in Nigeria by A.H.M. Green. You know one funny thing that's in that book? They were having, debates. No, not the conference, I should say, right? Talks about the Biafra. This was in 1968. Guess what Ojukwu was asking for? He didn't want Igbo land. He wanted regions that were not Igbo. For simple reasons. He wanted the land, he wanted the resources, he wanted the mineral resources, he wanted the access to the sea. He wanted everything that his own Igbo land doesn't have. That's why you would never get Biafra, because it's based on a thieving spirit. A thieving spirit. You are trying to thieve. That's the reason you can never have it. Then the flip side was that when he was now told that, you know what, let's give you Igbo land. It's in that book, Crisis and Conflict in Nigeria, Volume 2 by A.H.M. Green. They offered him Igbo land. He said no. To make matters worse, beyond the fact that he wanted other people's land connected to his and, having what he called, Biafra, he now said he also wanted his people to have dual citizenship, to be Biafran Nigerian. That's exactly what you guys are still thinking right now. You are not ready to go anywhere. The day you show that you are ready, the day you pick up your bags, just like Jesus told the man that was on the couch, pick up the mat and walk. Once you pick up the bag and you move, everybody will begin to respect you. At this moment, you're just jokers. All right, next. Why won't you let Igbo go? I have Igbo friends. I don't want to let them go, by the way. They are very close to me. But if they want to leave now, nobody's going to stop anybody from going. You're not that important. The Podakot you are talking about is owned by the Igbos. Go and say it to Ikwere people. By the time they slap your face, you know the answer to your problem. This year, I think a couple of months ago, Igbos were going to have an event, a festival in Port Harcourt. The Ikwere people wrote against it, went to the police. They had to beg the Ikwere people before they allowed them to have that conference. And you said this is their land. You guys, why are you always taunting people? Shall we saying it's your land? Go and take it Next. Someone says you lack knowledge of the South. You lack knowledge of life. You lack knowledge of geography. You lack knowledge of everything. You are a retard. Dozy says, who's holding you Igbo people? Leave Southwest first and we'll see your seriousness. Good answer. Business Talk 001 says you are already lost in the maze. Maze as in corn. If you are going to insult people, at least learn how to spell. Aren't you a disgrace to your generation? Which one is lost in the M-A-I-Z-E? Inside like Bado. Bernard Okoli, Ronukus, or bigotry and bigots everywhere. APC Tinubu. Okay. You will cry. Dabere. How come a lot of Igbos came today? It's interesting. Tell us which state in Southwest that is more developed than the East, apart from Lagos. You call your cities full of brown roof better than the East. You are funny. Okay, so let's answer that one. I just wish I could insult you guys the way I would have loved to, but I can't for personal reasons. But let me see if I can help your destiny, because clearly you need help. So number one, you say which state? You know, by the way, it's good to travel. I've been to 4 of the 5 southeastern states. They are good, but not that good. Like, it's not like there's something wrong with the place. They're nice towns and villages, but forget all the hype. It's not exactly what they make it out to be. I mean, the entire place is like. I grew up in Ibadan. The in the 50s, it was even up until the 70s, 80s, it was the largest city in Africa. Right now, it's the largest city in West Africa. So I grew up there. I was born and bred in Ibadan. I'm not even going to talk about Lagos, because the movement that the kind of movement that you have in Ibadan, you can't even have it in the entire place before you know that you're in another person's state. So that's actually the reason for the brown roofs. People think that saying you wear brown roofs is an insult. Actually, it's not. I'll explain something to you. You see, brown roof is actually a sign of civilization, and I'll explain why. At the time Yoruba people were using corrugated roofing sheets, your fathers were using thatch roofs. Up until today in Enugu, there are houses using thatch. In other words, when my fathers were buying corrugated roofing sheets, your fathers were having to use thatch roof, living inside mud houses, not because they didn't know that some places existed. Maybe like 1 or 2 will have corrugated roofing sheets, and your entire lineage will now gather there and celebrate that person as your king. E.g. Mbadiwe. Whenever you see those brown roofs, it's sign that they bought it the Owadikweta. But the question will be, and this is for Yoruba people, so why on earth are we not putting those structures down? Because we have land. That's the simple answer. The structures are still up because there's land. In other words, when the children in the Agbole, when they grow up, normally they should fix the house and maybe remove the roof and build something else, but there's land. In other words, they can move out of the house and buy land elsewhere and build. So that becomes, it's always the Agbole, like the ancestral home or family compound. They would always move out to build new spaces, and you see this is on all Yoruba towns, not one. I'm not saying 1 or 2, all. And people of God, I know exactly what I'm saying. Have you noticed when you're traveling, you see some houses in some places and you're like, you know what they be? It's because ilewa only rale. People who come from a place that is very tight, they have to either build houses underground or just keep going up, like Tower of Babel, but that's their own story because there's no land. We don't have to pull down structures because there's virgin land, which you would never know what it means land, which is why you literally worship land where you're from. So brown roof, that's not an insult. It's actually a blessing, right? And it would have been a problem if there are no newer houses in those same cities and towns, but those ones exist as well, right? And if you congregate all the things, is the word congregate, if you put together everything that you have and put it inside one space that not even reach one local government for towns in the Southwest, I don't think you should be talking to. This is not when you guys used to do banter. I hate you, your father, your mother. Me, I will just bring out, if you really get me into it, we'll probably just bring out some books and let me read to you your family history. You literally just came down swinging from trees. May God bless you. All right. I think I answered the question. Which state in Southwest is more developed than the East? Just move around. Move around. Recently, Abia State installed water fountain. Water fountain, not water park. Not water park. It's not like a park. It's a fountain in the middle of the road. This was last week or so. The entire place came out to celebrate water fountain. You are the one asking me which part of Southwest is more developed than the Southeast. Go and ask the governor of Abia State. He will tell you what Julius Berger signboard. Just because we don't talk doesn't mean we don't know what your home looks like. Oh, we just don't think it's necessary to talk about it because what's the point? Well, since you want to be stupid, we might as well show you the image of your house, and it's not all that. All right, next. Your comment is full of laziness. That's your parent. Division was never this bad in Nigeria. No country moves forward with that. You guys are very dumb. You will come with this narrative of people are being divided. People are divided. You don't know that. You don't know who you are talking to. Your parents used this narrative in the 40s, and by the time we woke up, they used it in the 40s, in the 50s, and 60s. By the time they got what they wanted, they pushed everybody out and concentrated only on their own people at the expense of everyone else. But they used that unity until they got what they wanted, and as soon as they got it, they told you to keep quiet because are we not united? You are not. And the funny thing is this: you're not even as smart as your parents. Oh, well, I can't sorry because the things I want to say. So division. If you think this is not division, this is delineation. Civilized people will understand that. Just because we are related doesn't mean there are no boundaries. You guys hate the idea of boundaries. Just this morning, I saw a video. It was something happening in Festac. Houses, shops being pulled down, and these guys were shouting and saying, "Oh, they removed people's livelihood." You're literally building on the road. But no, we can't do anything. How else are we going to show we are not tribalists and bigots? But by allowing you to run mad in Lagos and do whatever you like, because after all, we are all united. That's not unity. That's not unity. That's not how you define unity. Unity does not mean that you allow people to just do whatever they like. You have dysfunction. And I've said it several times. In Nigeria, the loudest mouth, they should hear this. If structures are put in place in your industry, you will pack up. That's why I don't do all this, your father, your mother, all this. Structures are put in place, you will pack up. Why? You thrive in dysfunction. You thrive in disorderliness. Once somebody introduces structure, it gets to you. Oh, it's happened all over Nigeria. The only difference is just that when it happens in some places, they take the L and then they do better. When it happens in your place, it's because you are Igbo. That's the reason. Then you call it hate. You can build on the road. You can build on the canal. You can build under anything. You can do whatever you like. In other words, be haphazard. Have no structure, no order. Just rather ada. And then anybody that allows you to do that is the one who loves you, even though you are doing it not in your land though. The era of gaslighting people is over. And the things that have been written that have not been, maybe for some reason because, many of us are very busy with life. We really have the time. Well, we read together here. Not to make you look like demons, but just to tell you exactly who you are. You're not all that. I'm not saying you are the problem of anybody. I'm not saying nobody holy pass. And that's the point. Nobody holy pass. And the crazy thing about Nigeria is this. It's actually the that behaves like he's the holiest of all. I mean, I would understand if somebody who has never done a thing is insulting everybody and criticizing them and telling them they don't understand unity. But a person who comes from a place where folks in the same state cannot even move from place to place and get jobs is the one who wants to tell me about unity. One of these days, I've not really done this thing before, but one of these days, I'll do a series on the difference between Osu, Ohu, Oru, and the Diala. And then we'll understand how that affects the development of your space. Because you can't really be talking about unity. Jesus, if any group should be talking about unity in Nigeria, it cannot be you. It can't. Charity begins at home. Your own charity always begins abroad. And a Ebonyi person cannot even live in Anambra State. And you're telling me about unity in Nigeria. Are you kidding? And when woman's house was just pulled down in Anambra State, why? Not because she did anything wrong. She just happens to be a boy. That's all. Abakaliki Street was renamed in Anambra State, and it was renamed to Club Street. Why? The man who first bought a house along that side is an Abakaliki Adeboye man. Why do you look down on the Wawa people? You can't talk about unity. You don't even know what it means. Unity to you means the ability or the ability for you to do whatever you want to do without anybody asking you questions. That's what unity means to you. That's not unity. That is functionality. And you can take it back home. That song. You will not unite at home amongst the townspeople or the ethnic people. You don't even have a guinea. You know. I want to folk by sorrow. You don't have that. You'll not be the one to go around the world telling everybody we must unite. How about unite at home? How about stop discrimination amongst your people in one local government from village to village? Autonomous communities. I've been there. I've been to 4 of your states, and I see the good things I saw there. I've talked about it, but today, because of a stupid question, let's talk about. You're not okay, oh. Just that people are not just okay. You're not okay, oh. Something, it is well. Oh, just stop. Please answer my question. My question is: who sold those lands and who gave approval for buildings? You're going to have to take a bus. I don't know where you are in the world. You take a bus. I can tell you the address to Alausa. There is a Ministry of Clinical and Physical Planning, Urban and Physical Planning. Is in Alausa, is in Ikeja. I'll just tell you how to get there. You knock on the door, enter. Ask the people there the question you're asking me. Was it not last week? We saw the video of a person paying people to fill up canal. What did I say? To build there. And after that, retards will come and say Lagos is smelling. Are there people working for the government who are also collaborators? Of course. Does that mean we should leave the building and destroy the entire state? Of course not. Both the briber and the bribee, both of them have, questions to answer. But that has nothing to do with the people of the land who are daily troubled by floods, especially during rainy season. So you can just build it because you got one wishy-washy document from a corrupt official. And because of that, we should leave it. So the point is, yes, they're corrupt officials and they have questions to answer. Oh, geez, man. Our YouTube just went